Here we go. I want to thank everybody here at Xposure for allowing us to do this presentation of projections. Their hospitality is really terrific, and I appreciate that. Today we're with Ricardo Lopes from Lisbon, who is going to share with us this wonderful body of work, this powerful body of work from Mozambique, and it's all yours. So how are you?
Hi, Frank. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
My project is called Blessed Ground. It's a photographic essay that I shot in Mozambique in 2024, and it speaks to the consequences of mining.
How did you get there? Like, what made you go? Like, where did you discover that this was going on?
Gold mining in Africa, and particularly in Mozambique, has been going on for centuries, ever since like the Portuguese.
And what made you go?
Country. I was looking to produce like documentary photography projects that were in line with my like social values, like the value that drew me to initially to documentary photography, and also being able to kind of correlate what have been like several layers of my life.
Right.
So on the topic of mining, one of the things I found most important to cover was the consequences of the usage of mercury,
Right.
Which is like this, ever since the time of the Roman Empire, mercury was the messenger of God, just on behalf of being so elusive and liquid and fast.
Yeah.
And this is like a very invisible danger because you can't really see it, but it seeps in the water,
Right.
in the crops, in the whole ecosystem. And this spoke to me because I have studied to be a chemical engineer.
Okay. So go back to the first slide. So
This one.
So here, this gentleman is going to the location where they're digging for the day. Like, how does that work?
So what happened here is that these were all farming valleys, and these big companies from like the north came in and kind of destroyed their agricultural fields to exploit gold without any kind of social responsibility behind. And this caused like an economical shift in the local communities where they are now like kind of being forced to look for small particles of gold in order to survive. So this is just right next to the villages because this is where people would go to plant their crops.
Right.
And they're excavating the rock and sediments, crushing everything in order to be able to extract those small gold particles in there.
And is there some type of research, or what is the method as it relates to why are we going here? Like, does somebody do research that there's a water vein underneath, and there could be, what is there anything like sort of technical that gets you there?
Yeah. Well, this for them, it's a very kind of intuitive process.
Okay.
But the main giveaway is that like if the mining companies were there, we can probably find some gold as well.
So they've done some of the digging for us.
This is already like an area that has been excavated
Okay.
by the big mining corporations, and they're looking for what's left.
Right. So, and the mining companies, what are they looking for?
They are looking for gold.
They're looking for gold, but just in a big scale.
On a much larger scale.
Right. Okay.
With this all industrial machinery. And so like this kind of artisanal mining, it's very hazardous in a way because not only are they completely like polluting the rivers with the washing of sediments, but because afterwards, they kind of sift through the heavier particles in those sediments, and they're using mercury to extract the gold from those basins just at the end of the process.
So how does that work with the mercury? They use the mercury to put within the solution that they're working with, and that extracts the gold.
Yeah. So mercury, when in contact with other metals, it dissolves them and creates an amalgam.
Okay.
And so we even have like a photo. So this is a blob of mercury, right, which has been in contact with the gold. So it dissolved it, and it's now part of the blob.
So in there is a piece of gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what happens is if you burn mercury, mercury evaporates, but gold doesn't. So you are left with the nuggets.
Right.
The harm in this is that when mercury evaporates, not only it gets in your respiratory system, but it also precipitates into the water sources that are nearby, and that contaminates crops and
All down the line.
yeah, all down the line. Um, and I'd like to go back here a couple of slides. Um, so these are very young people as a whole, like population that have no other economic opportunities in the cities that are the cities are far away, but even that the economic opportunities or job opportunities are very limited, and you get and so this has caused like such a shift. This is like their only means for survival. So these kids were telling me like they're trying to make some money to buy notebooks and being able to go to school. Because the dream is being able to get to the end of the scholar program and kind of joining the army or having a policeman.
So is this a generational thing with families that like you're sort of born into it and this is what you'll do? Like in so many poorer nations, you're destined for where your parents are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if on the one hand you can't really get away from the place you're born because you have no opportunity and means to do it. Uh, all these people I saw working very, very hard at the mines were very young, especially men during the day, but also like in an attempt to help the global family revenue.
Right.
Kids and women as well are working the mines and growing into that kind of scenario.
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle. So do the young children, do they supply some type of a resource that the bigger people can't do? Like bigger bodies can't get into smaller spaces, and they use the kids. In that vein, or that doesn't exist. Like in cases where they're getting rid of drugs, they can give it to a little kid, and the little kid won't get in trouble, where an older adult would. Is there any sort of nuance to having young kids do this?
Well, not really. Not really. It's just like we need all the extra help we can get.
That's okay.
Like this portrait we have here.
Yep.
This young man is called Freedom.
Freedom.
And he, along with some of his mining partners, were digging shafts like 10 meters deep and then up to 20, 30 meters out, excavating the
and they would go down and wow.
And as you can see, like in the photographs, this is a very kind of arduous terrain. So it oftentimes happens that the tunnels collapse and they have no way to get out of there. So it's very dangerous.
And how frequent does that happen? Any idea? And there's no government regulations and safeguards, right?
None whatsoever. I mean, those safeguards would have to be implemented at an earlier stage, where these companies have to fulfill like social responsibility to their communities. And that happens. The tunnels collapsing and like accidents happen very often because this is also done during the rainy season. They need a lot of water to wash the sediments, and so the soils are just very like soft and impregnated with water.
So when that happens, I mean, I don't know if you were ever there when something like that happened. they work to get the body out.
Well, sometimes they try with,
Was that way? So sometimes they're left,
yeah.
and with a marker.
Sometimes we're markers. Sometimes it's just like another, another thing in their lives. Actually,
Really? Wow.
because it's so common and they are like fully aware of
The risks.
the risk.
And do they get paid at all, or is only what we take out is where we get money?
It's only what they take out minus a percentage for
The
like rent for the landowners, for renting the machine that is crushing the rocks. Um, so there's a bit of a system that goes into this, and usually they would get about half the price of what they sell it for, um, which would amount like from the people I've seen selling and kind of asked about, this would amount roughly $1 a day.
Yes. And I don't. Tell me if I'm wrong. Do I not see women? It's predominantly
No,
male.
the on the one hand, because of a cultural kind of thing, it's like a superstition.
Okay.
That women like bring bad luck to the mines, but also because this is physically super demanding. It's brutal. These guys work like 12 hours non-stop digging in the scorching sky. And then they get out, they sleep, they eat, and someone replaces them inside the shaft or the place they're digging. Yeah, here we see a tiny gold nugget on a scale.
Yeah.
So this was a sale.
Oh, that's the scale. Yep.
And this is roughly a quarter of a gram. This is for two people working 2 full days, which amounts to like $10 after paying the landowner and the equipment and everything else.
But there also must be on some level an honor system, right? Because what makes somebody say, "No, maybe I won't give that piece up"? This little piece. Someone who dug that up, right? I mean, he's got to be noble enough or afraid enough not to take something for himself.
Yeah, I think it's based on also the supposition that I have to be here tomorrow's account.
And what's the consequence if they catch you doing something like that?
I wouldn't know honestly.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, probably there would be like a sense of injustice to everyone involved.
Okay. If he's doing it, they're probably all doing it.
Yeah.
And so this is this a tent where they might live, or is this something to block one of the holes they're digging?
Yeah. So in some cases, the mining fields are really close to the communities, to the villages. Other times, not so much, or people are coming from a distant village to try and find their lungs. And so they would set up these kind of tents. They can spend it there up to like 3, 4, 5, 6 months with sleeping, eating all together, trying to save money for transportation, trying to kind of gather some more money to help their family when they get back.
And do they bring a lot of food up, or they're eating vegetation that's in that space?
No, they're buying like flour. Usually, they would prepare a dish called shima, which is like a very traditional dish from Mozambique.
Right.
It's with flour cooked with water, and oftentimes they would eat just that once a day.
Right.
Other times, there's some dried fish or some fungi. Some mushrooms they were able to pick up from nearby fields.
And where do you stay when you're there? I mean, how do you're like right there with them? I mean, of course you are.
Yeah.
I mean, and your conditions are similar to theirs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting into to these villages and kind of presenting myself to the local leaders.
And you a fixer? Do you need a fixer
to get there? Yeah, you would. You would need a fixer to get there. Also, because like there's bureaucracy of going across districts and the provinces, and being able to actually get access to the local leader, and then kind of explaining like I want to document what's happening here on behalf of this kind of enterprise that's going on and kind of destroying your fields. And so these local leaders would find me a place to stay, to kind of spread the word around it. I'm welcome by him.
And did they speak to you about the story you want to tell? In that this is a very intense experience, right? You're going and you're documenting how hard it is and the life and on and on and on. Is that something negative, positive, or is it more just about to get the message out? Because you can't really do this story in a positive way, other than just when they get a piece of gold. That's a real positive thing. But the working conditions, the amount of money they actually make, is pretty intense for the work that they're doing. Is there any sort of control, like where are you going to use these photographs? What's your story about?
I mean, I think there's a lot of curiosity about it, and I think like transparency is key, and also like a very strict work ethic. So like I'm empathetic with what's happening here. I'm clearly like spending the time to build trust and connection with these people, not only kind of living there for the 3 months I was working on this project. But also in my mind to really understand what they're going through.
So that builds the trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it's almost kind of counterintuitive, because they are in such a vulnerable position, right? But they don't let go of like a tremendous hospitality and generosity towards you. I've been invited to have dinner with families that had like one fish to share for 10 people.
Is that right?
And they were like, "Well, you go first because you're our guest." And that is such a moving experience and humbling. Right. That they keep in touch with this kind of inner humanity.
And in that context, I'm really glad you brought that up. But in that context, how do you deal with the emotional side of what you're seeing? Right, you're taking important images. Something like so beautiful, right? But how do you go back? How do you go back to your normal life, and what baggage do you bring back in those types of moments where you're reflecting on the possibilities for their livelihood, the possibilities for a long life, a long healthy life? How does that weigh on you?
That is like quite the balance, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think first of all, me being there as a photographer, I have to keep in mind that I have the privilege of coming back, and they don't.
Right.
So that carries a lot of responsibilities for what has been shared with me and what I can share from their story, because they're not able to do so in their own voice. And yeah, I mean,
because it's a responsibility, right? I mean,
it's a responsibility, and throughout my stay there, I laughed with them, I cried with them. I went to the parties, I went to the funerals, I went to swim in the river. I had no electricity, no drinkable water, just the same as them. So it's really, I think for me, it's really based on this idea that I have the privilege of coming back.
Yep. So it's sort of like a self-inflicted, not a wound, a self-inflicted responsibility.
Yeah,
to care.
A responsibility, right? For sure. But I wouldn't say a wound at all. Just because I think it forces us to put things in perspective, to value what such a privilege we have in the comfort of our own lives and every day that we don't account for.
And do you feel a responsibility to go back in any way? I mean, is it? And if you do go back, what do you bring with you as far as gifts, or as far as I see that they needed better rope, or whatever it may be? Do you get into the weeds there, so to speak?
I would love to go back. At the moment, I don't think like the conditions are ideal.
Safety wise,
yeah. But I keep in touch with a lot of these families, and yeah, definitely I would like to go back. I'm not sure if I would like bring gifts or kind of put me in the position of a savior, because I don't think that's
right.
That's the way for me.
Right.
For the kind of things that I think documentary photography can bring. But I mean, I do this because like the story matters to me, not only because of the social and economical view of it, but because I've connected with these people.
So tell me what we see here.
So this is a night scene. They are cooking shima, the dish I was just telling you about. At night, after like a very very long work day. Once again, these are like very young men.
And is there a hierarchy within the group? That you're the cook, you'll do this. And if I say let's pull up land here, this is a better spot. I think. What's the dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, usually the older folks kind of lead, not only because they have more like experience, but they have like this respected position. They're kind of good age.
Yeah.
And I would like to like maybe comment on this picture, one that we went by before. That for me was very important to kind of make this kind of strict documentary reportage style, but also bring in some of my personal vision and this way of metaphorical representations. And for example, this portrait of José, it's it's a symbol of like what comes with the blind. I mean, mercury can cause blindness, but there's a metaphorical sense in the way of like us being blinded by greed and like this availability to look away, being responsible. Because I mean, for me, it was very kind of paradoxal, the idea that these people would be in such a vulnerable position while standing on top of what is like globally a symbol of wealth and prosperity. And so there was one other, this one. I think this one for me is one of my like favorite images, and that I think also one of the most important, because this girl has this golden earrings.
Yeah.
And in my vision, she's kind of looking into this river that kind of is a flow of life, and looking at what the future is going to be or might be like, and how it can change or not change depending on what's going on in this community.
It's funny, as I was looking at it and you were speaking, I'm thinking, is she looking for a necklace too? Because she has the earrings.
Yeah.
Is her dream that they'll find me a necklace now?
And so I think like,
so tell us about this.
A lot of what was happening locally with this presence of mercury, not only mercury but cyanide as well. For example, this is causing a lot of health issues, and health issues most doctors or professionals in those areas aren't even aware of. So they have no idea how prejudicial mercury can be, or cyanides, or any of the other chemicals that they might be using in tossing in the water. So I saw a lot of people with respiratory diseases, and also a lot of children with neurological diseases, because when women get pregnant, the fetus kind of tries to save the mother's body and absorbs all the ethanol. But this causes very severe cerebral paralysis and all kinds of neurological diseases.
And do they recognize that chain of events, or is it more of a spiritual thing that child was cursed? That where's the line?
Yeah, for them locally, there's a very like spiritual presence, and that just adds to another layer of vulnerability because they believe like maybe the children was cursed, the child was cursed, or the mother was cursed, and then they're cast away from society, which both, which particularly for these young mothers, like the women in this position, are left in a very very vulnerable position. And at the same time, like this kind of balance that happens there. I was mentioning before the generosity, the joy, and I saw this in their lifestyle. So these two photographs are actually from the same funeral.
Now they're celebrating the life.
Yeah, now they're celebrating the life. So they're mourning the one who's not with us anymore, but they're also celebrating the fact that we're still here, that life goes on.
And I see this gentleman with an iPhone.
Yeah. Well, technology has reached. Yeah, technology has reached every corner of our planet.
But with the technology comes knowledge and information. Is there any avenue where this man who's holding that phone can tell the village those people are not cursed? Those people, it's the cyanide, it's the mercury. Is there any voice of reason because they are connected to whatever degree to the outside world?
Well, I think that could apply to all of us.
That's true.
Like, we don't know what we don't know. But I would reckon, first of all, it's not like the access to that information, to the internet, to even the electricity. It's not that common in these areas. I don't know where this gentleman came from, but the villages in the mountains where I was staying, oftentimes didn't have electric power, or was just like in the government office or something like this. Right. They had electricity there. Yeah, I mean, access to information is key, but I think it has to come from like a place of recognized legitimate knowledge, from training health professionals, from testing the waters, from trying to kind of introduce the idea of formalizing the sector with the government, so these people can be protected.
I mean, that was a huge gathering. I mean, this is a huge gathering, and is it something in particular the men are separated from the women? With all the guys up there. I mean, is there any significance to that? And can you describe the smell, the texture of this moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in this kind of circle, everyone's dancing, and they have this musical instruments. And what you see in the back is people are sitting because, like, the funeral is kind of a social gathering for everyone. So this day, someone came by my cabin early morning, like 4 a.m. in the morning, and they were like, Ricardo, there's going to be a deadening, which to me, like, the expression sounded kind of weird,
Yeah.
It's as if someone had a scheduled time to die. And so we have to go now because it's quite far. And so I grabbed my backpack and some water. We walked for, I think, 3.5 hours through the mountains. And they would put on their grass shoes for the occasion. They would drink water to prepare for the trip. And so everyone from every neighboring village is coming to the funeral, and they are preparing food for everyone. They're dancing into this kind of trance, and just the sun is scorching, and the music is playing non-stop, and dust just fills the air, and you kind of can't see anything. And I felt really privileged to actually be.
You just took the word right out of my mouth. I said I was going to ask you, do you feel privileged to be part of that?
Absolutely.
What a gift as a journalist.
Absolutely, for just unconditional way they've opened the doors of their life to be and kind of welcome me in.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I mean, it'd be interesting, if there was video of people walking from all these different villages to come here, right? And how does that information get out to the other villages that this experience is happening? Is it, people, because people are always coming back and forth, and there's advance notice?
Yeah, I think so. It just comes from word of mouth.
Yeah.
People are coming because either they have they've planted something on a faraway field and trying to, they cross paths with the neighbor, which is going to visit some family, was going to visit some family, and the word gets around.
Right. So, I mean, no better slide to really end with than that one. Anything else you want to share with us that we didn't touch? Because it's really beautiful that you brought us there with, every different angle of it, which makes us educated on this. And how, like I said, I'll ask you again, like, how do you do, like, you leave, are you okay spiritually with what you see, and then you go back to this other world?
Yeah, so I think I have to say to myself as well, but I deeply believe this. It's not as if my photograph is gonna change the world in itself, or save these people I deeply care about. But I believe it contributes to this collective lucidity and awareness that can help build a better society.
And that's a rewarding thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I returned home feeling very heart-filled with all the generosity and welcoming.
Mankind is good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for doing this and sharing this experience with us. We really feel like we got a real sense of their lives, and that's your job, right?
Thank you so much for having me. This was a pleasure.
And we thank everyone here at Xposure for pulling this together for us, letting us use their facilities. So thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.